Now, in my last video, I said that the iPhone 15 feels like a true upgrade. And I can't lie, that statement still stands. Now, the iPhone 15 is honestly a phone that has given me no problems. I shot a few videos with it, tested the battery life, camera, and just used it to the max throughout the course of a week. And I have yet to notice any real problems besides the fact that it has a 60 Hz refresh rate. But besides that, everything is fine along with the very nice things that they added. And in this video, I'll be sharing my experience with the iPhone 15 while giving you guys even more reasons as to why I think that it's the best upgrade in the base model lineup of iPhones. Now, starting with design, the iPhone 15 has changed the front of the phone with a dynamic island notch. They have also added a USB-C port and changed the back to a matte feel. And all of these things added makes it feel like a solid upgrade from the iPhone 14. I really wish that they added a 90 Hz refresh rate, but I honestly don't think they will. But besides that, the big frame rate mixed with the small bezels really makes the display feel even bigger. This phone looks the exact same as the iPhone 14 from the power button, volume rockers and mute switch, all the way down to the speakers, back, but it does have a USB-C port. And looking at its color, the version that I have is pink, and this is one of my favorite colors on the iPhone 15 series. It has the matte pink sides along with a matte pink feeling back that gives it the right amount of depth and results in a really good looking device. And now looking at the display, the iPhone 15 has a 6.1 inch Super Retina XDR display that, just like the iPhone 15 Pro, was very good and had a very nice size. Whenever I was scrolling through my phone, it looked very nice. Everything looked clean, the responsiveness was very precise, and I had no complaints about the overall feel. The dynamic island not only made the display feel new, but it also gave the 15 a nice aesthetic that made it look very premium. Whenever I was scrolling through certain apps, the frame rate would drop a little bit, but for most apps, it was running at a 60 Hz refresh rate. The bezels are pretty small. Right here, you can see that they're wrapped nicely around the screen and are very clean. And again, the viewing experience is just like the iPhone 15 Pro. And now when it comes to brightness, the iPhone 15 is even more identical to the 15 Pro. Both are at 2000 nits peak brightness, which means that whenever you're outside, you'll be able to see the display very well since it's very bright. And now when it comes to the size of the 15, I can't say whether or not you will love it or hate it, but I do want to list some pros and cons that you can look out for. Now, the pros of having a 6.1 inch screen is that even though it's not as big as a 15 Plus or Pro Max, it still has a pretty big display, it fits into my pockets easier, and it's also much easier to reach to the top of the screen. And the only con is that it is smaller than the 15 Plus and Pro Max, so the battery will be smaller and the battery life will be slightly worse. Now, another problem that I had with the display was that Apple still hasn't added a fingerprint sensor. I think that the iPhone has the best Face ID in the game, but it still would have been nice to have that extra function when unlocking my phone. The resolution and viewing experience of the 15's display is phenomenal, just like the 15 Pro. I was able to see everything very clearly when watching videos, and playing games on it was as fun as ever. Now, the iPhone 15 has a 3300 mAh battery that is the exact same as the iPhone 15 Pro Max and was able to last me all day with no problem, even with moderate use. And mind you, I'm the type of person that is on my phone all day doing things like FaceTime, shooting videos, scrolling through social media, watching YouTube videos, and playing music. And I'm usually getting over 5 hours of screen time a day, and I only charge my phone when I'm sleeping. I was also using my 15 on power saving mode, but most of the time I did use it to the max, and it was still able to perform very well. And given a quick estimate, I would say that my battery is usually on 10% by the end of the day, which is really good and not really far off from the 15 Pro. And now the last thing that I wanted to touch on when it came to the battery was charging. And if I'm being honest, charging isn't really fast compared to Samsung phones. It would take me well over an hour to get to 100%, but like I said before, you'll only need one charge, so I think that the long-lasting battery is pretty great. And now looking at software, iOS 17 is holding up very well so far, and compared to iOS 16, it's much more stable and usable since I haven't gotten any lags. iOS 17 is nice and does have nice features, but if I'm being honest, you really kind of have to go out of your way to use them. I remember with iOS 16, everything was kind of just there. But with iOS 17, if you're not really looking to use the new features, you won't really come across them. And again, I say, this phone feels the exact same as the iPhone 15 Pro. And the only difference having them side by side is that one has smoother scrolling. And I also decided to test out some games on the iPhone 15. I play Asphalt 9, which is a game that can really test out the chip. And as you can see, it held up very well, and I didn't get any lags while playing. Now, the final thing that I wanted to note was that the iPhone 15 will be getting 5 to 6 years worth of software upgrades. So when it comes to longevity, it's pretty much got you covered. Just like most iPhones, the iPhone 15 has some really loud speakers that were very good. I would usually use them in the house whenever watching videos on social media or YouTube, and I didn't have to turn it all the way up because they were very loud and they also had really good quality. I tested out how they sounded when playing music, and if I'm being honest, they're very loud. The quality is slightly lower than the iPhone 15 Pro, but if I'm being honest, they're still very identical and really don't make that much of a difference. And right here, I'm going to give you guys a speaker comparison between the iPhone 15 Pro and iPhone 15. Now the iPhone 15 has a 48 megapixel main camera along with a 12 megapixel front and 12 megapixel ultra wide, and based on my usage over the past week, I would say that these pictures are damn near the same as the iPhone 15 Pro. Starting with zoom modes, the iPhone 15 had a couple of different zoom modes, and the quality was always pretty good no matter if I was in ultra wide, 1x, 2x, or 3x zoom. It doesn't have the extra telephoto lens, but it still was able to take really good zoom photos. The shutter speed was very good from the start. I tested this out by shooting moving cars, and as you can see right here, the camera was able to capture most cars beautifully no matter how fast they were going, so I was pretty satisfied. Now looking at outside photos, we can see that they have a really great shadow of depth whenever I'm taking pictures of myself, along with a pretty nice blur, and no matter what position of the sun I was in, it was still able to take really good selfies and pictures, so I had no complaints. I also took some photos of random street objects, the sky, and different aspects of nature, and I can honestly say that the 15 held up very well in these environments, and I'm really impressed. Now taking a look at inside photos, the 15 was able to capture everything very nice, and I found the pictures to be more detailed than the 14 because of the upgrade in the 48 megapixel camera. Even when taking selfies, you can see how the camera handles already good lighting to produce an overall nicely taken photo. My skin tone looked really good, and the sharpness was really good as well. And now when it comes to shooting video, the 15 is easily one of the best phones that you can buy in this price range. You have many different modes and frame rates to choose from, but I prefer to shoot my videos in 4K at 30 frames per second because not only does it look good in 4K, but 30 frames makes it smooth, but not too smooth like 60 frames. The video stabilization was amazing. I usually shoot videos with my phone, so whenever I'm shooting my subject, I can use everything in handheld, and the movements will be very precise. So all in all, I would definitely say that the iPhone 15 has an amazing video camera that'll give you some consistently good shots. So if you're someone who wants to shoot content or you just want a solid camera, the iPhone 15 has got you covered. Also, here are some extra videos that I was able to get. So here's the final question. Is the iPhone 15 worth buying? Well, if I'm being honest, it's actually a much better deal than the iPhone 15 Pro. They both have a great build quality, both have good battery life, both have great software, and I truly feel like this year around, base model iPhones have given the Pro series true competition. But there it is, you guys, my review on the iPhone 15. Now let me know down in the comments, would you buy the iPhone 15 or the 15 Pro? And whichever one you choose, why? And again, I want to thank you guys for watching today's video, and I'm gonna see you guys on the next one. Peace.